So yesterday we learned about DDL and DML. Few more topics I'll be covering today for DDL and DML, especially on constraint. This is very important topic. Constraint is, one of the important thing during, creating your table. Okay. So what is constraint? Why it's required? We'll be discussing it today. And okay, if it's covered today, then we'll be starting DQL a bit today. Okay. DQL means data query language. So whatever we have learned in last session in DDL and DML, is there any doubt from anyone? Any stuck point, any doubt? I hope you also, you already tried. Mainly who are quite new to this field. I'm expecting that you were trying the same thing at your side. You are just going ahead with the hands-on part as well. Any doubt, any stuck point so far from anyone? Okay, I hope it's fine for everyone. Okay, I'm just going to the database directly. So I cleaned all the tables. As you know that the last day we execute drop statement, drop table name. If we execute these things, our database tables will be cleaned. Okay, there are no tables available now in the database. Let's create a table. Okay, some student table we can quickly create. Create table student. Whatever the leftover part, what the things we have left in last working day, the same thing we'll be covering today. So yesterday we left how we can define a date data type. And if we define a date data type, how the data should be looking like. This is very important concept I'll be going to cover today. So create table name. Let's put student ID as the first column, student ID as integer. Uh, what other things I can put? Student ID, student age. Okay, student date of birth. Just this thing. DOB. It's a day data type. Okay, student name I can also put student name as varchar. Maybe put 30 or 40. It's fine. Okay, this is a simple table. Just declaring this way. From this table, why we are doing this thing? Just to learn how date data type will work. So the table is created. Let me just refresh and check. Yes, the table is created with the following columns. Let me put a DQL statement as well to check the data all the time. Select star from student. Okay, let me just execute this thing as well. Yes, those three columns are there without any data. Let's go ahead with some insert statement. Insert student. Okay, values. Let me insert my first row. One student name maybe Akhil Chaudhuri. Okay, so date. How should be date data types value? Okay, so date data types. Actually, this is very important thing I want to mention now. So for MySQL database, the default date format should be this YYYY So if we want to insert any kind of date data, we need to follow this format. Otherwise, if we do not follow this format, then it will be considering this thing as a string. Okay. Let me insert a different kind of date format. Suppose 1980. Let me put Jan over here. Let me put January 2, January 2nd. Let me insert in this way. Let me see what things I can receive. They are showing error because incorrect date value this. As this is mentioned as a date data type, so I need to follow proper format. So the default format of MySQL is default date format of MySQL is mm. So I need to mention 01 over here. Yes, the row has been successfully inserted. Let me run this thing and check. Yeah, the data is inserted properly. So each of the database is having their own date format. Okay, just like this is MySQL date format. If we just go through Oracle, MS SQL Server, any other databases, you can see there is different date format. Let's see. I mean, can just quickly search. The default date format in Oracle is DD mon. Mon means month. Here month should be written over here just like this way. Jan, Feb, March, in this way. YY. So each of the databases is having their own way to represent the date data type. We need to remember this. Okay, this is very important concept. As of now, in MySQL, we can focus in this way. The format should be YYYYMMDD. Why we are going ahead with this format? Why we are putting date data type? We can put this thing varchar as well. We can put this thing varchar and we can put our own way of date data type. This is also possible. We can just put varchar 20, 30, anything, and we can go ahead with our own way of representing date. Because varchar or string character can accommodate anything. It can be alphanumeric, it can be hyphen, it can be anything. But maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow, we will be learning some date function, date related functions. The function should be only operating on top of date data type. We'll be learning this thing maybe after 1 or 2 days. Then if we just go ahead with varchar kind of stuffs, it will not work on top of this data type. Okay, that day I'll be mentioning the same words again when using all kind of functions related to date data type. Okay, as of now, just remember, if we just put anything as date data type, we need to enter in this way, this format in MySQL. Okay. Okay. Now one more thing. So this is how I just mentioned how the data type works. The second thing I will be mentioning, yesterday I also started one more things. So I can input the column number over here as well, column name specifically. Because if suppose I do not want to put all the column values there. Suppose I only want student ID and student name. So I can only specify those two columns. Okay, and we can just mention the thing over here. To suppose the name can be Nilima Singh. Okay, so as I pass two input parameters of column, so I need to pass two values only. Or maybe the scenario can be in this way. I can insert student name first, then I need to follow the same order during insertion of the values. So this is the purpose of using column name over here as well. We can insert the column name and whatever order or how many columns I'll be presenting over here, the same thing I need to mention over here as well. Okay. This is the concept of using in insert statement. Insert is a DML statement. In DML statement, this is the purpose of using the column name over here. It's showing an error. Student ID, there is no such column. Student ID. Maybe I have put a strong is okay. This is spelling mistake over here. Sorry for that. Okay, this is spelling mistake. Modify this thing with an alter statement. Alter table. Okay, rename column. Yes, it's properly altered. Let me just refresh. Yes, it's fine. Let me delete this thing. Okay, the insertion is fine for both of you, whatever just we learned. Any response from your side? Are you following it?
Yeah, we got an error.
Or you are trying and you are receiving some error?
Yes.
You can tell me quickly what is the error?
Do you want me to share the screen or you just want me to read?
You just tell me as of now. Otherwise, if there is any
Um,
difficulty after the end of the session, we can quickly check it.
You have an error in your SQL syntax. Check the manual that corresponds to your MySQL server version for that.
Okay, I'll be checking this thing maybe after this meeting. At the end of the meeting, I'll be
Okay.
making you co-host. You can share your screen. You can check that thing. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, fine. As of now, you can follow this thing. If there is any stuck point while understanding, please tell me, stop me. I'll definitely, help you out at that time. Okay. So the last thing we learned about insertion for specific columns value and all this kind of thing we just learned. Let me just quickly check the data in student table. This is the data. You can see I have inserted two records. The second record doesn't have any student date of birth value. It's null value. It's fine. Now I'll be going to the constraint part. So when I am creating this kind of table with columns, I can impose some constraint on top of the columns. What is the constraints? Let me just show the slides. Yes. So the same thing, just like when I'm mentioning data type of a column, when I'm mentioning column length in DDL, in the same time we can declare the constraint of the columns. What can be the constraints? Let me show you. Yes. So those are different constraints available in MySQL database. The first one is called not null. Okay. So when I'm declaring this kind of data, by default, each of the column should have a null constraint. Means a column's value can be null at any point of time. Just like the same thing over here. I did not insert value for student date of birth. I inserted only two records and this was empty. So it's a null value. The student date of birth is having null value. Where I can get the constraint, just right click on the table. Uh, Check in table inspector. Let me check whether it's fine. Yeah, in table inspector, we can get all the metadata related information of the table. So the table is getting created into your this location with .ibd file extension file. Okay, that is fine. I want to see this thing. So you can see nullable. There is a parameter called nullable. You can see all of the nullables are yes. Okay, that means any column's value can be nullable. I can, as per my wish, I can neglect anyone's value while inserting the record. So this is one kind of constraint. By default, it's nullable. It's null. If I want to make it a not null. If I make it not null, during insertion of the row, I must have to put any value. Just like the mandatory field, while filling up some form, the mandatory fields there marking with asterisk or star over there, and we must need to fill this form. Similar kind of things over here. If we put some not null constraint on top of any such columns, we need to, while inserting the data, we must have to insert data to that particular column. Okay, so this is not null constraint. I'm just removing this stuff, so I'm just clicking on query one. Let me remove this thing. You can also check DDL over here. So it's the same DDL I just learned, run over here. You can see I'm just putting till int, but in the backend they're saving in this way. Null, null, null. Means by default they're coming with null. Okay. Let me recreate the table. We can drop the table. I'll be recreating the table by using some constraint. Okay, I have to drop the table and I need to recreate. This is fine, or I can also put in this way, create or replace. I think it's not working over here. Let me quickly run it. No, create or replace, it didn't work over here. So let me drop it. Drop table student. Create or replace, it should work in other database. I checked with other database, it's fine. But MySQL, it's not supporting create or replace keyword. Okay. So as of now, I'm dropping student. Yeah, student table has been dropped. I'm recreating table student, having a not null constraint on top of student ID. So when I'll be inserting record, student ID cannot be null. Okay. So let me just run it. Yeah, it successfully ran. Let me check. Okay, as of now, just remove it. Let me inspect the table once more time. Table inspector. So you can check the DDL or we can check columns over here. You can see this value, student ID nullable, it's no. Means it cannot be null in nature. The other column's value can be null. It's nullable, but student ID cannot be nullable. Let's have a quick check. Suppose I want to enter only student name. Okay. Suppose Nilima Singh only. As of now, there is no such record. We can just quickly check. Select start from student. Okay. Let me just search with it. Yeah, there's an error. Because field student ID does not have a default null value. Okay. So each time when I'll be inserting record, I must have to insert for student ID. The rest of the columns I can insert, I cannot insert. But the not nullable column, I need to insert the record for mandatory purpose. Okay. So during the design part, I need to think such a way so that I can put proper constraint to the columns. Okay. Let me put the thing student ID first. Or let me put all the columns. Actually, for few of the records, let me put one Nilima Singh. Okay, successfully inserted. Yeah. Okay, so this is one kind of constraint. I'm not putting null over here, but by default, it's null in nature. As I mentioned, if we do not put not null or null anything, by default, each of the columns are nullable in nature. If we want to make anything as not null, that should be the mandatory columns, then we just need to put this kind of constraint over here, not null. Okay. I hope the concept is clear. If not, please tell me. If I did not put any not null at the beginning, I'm just closing it over here. I can put alter statement, modify column, then I can put the thing over here. Again, I put student ID. Oh my. student. Let me drop and recreate. Okay. While recreating, let me just go ahead with the next thing. Unique. What is unique? Unique means the particular column cannot be having duplicate value. If we just declare unique keyword, unique constraint on top of any column, I cannot insert duplicate value to this particular column. Let me show you with an example. So I'm just declaring unique. The constant declaration is a bit different over here. Unique. Then I'm putting a comma over here with last column, then putting unique. Which particular columns I want to put unique, just I need to put these things. As of now, let me put student ID, should be unique always. The rest of the things can be unique, cannot be unique. I mean, cannot be unique actually. In a particular school, the student name can be duplicate. There are lots of students, maybe the same name can be there. There'll be no issue. Same date of birth can be there. There'll be no issue. But student ID should be unique in nature. Okay. So let me run this. Yeah, we successfully ran it. Let me check the table inspector as well, which is the metadata information of the table. Let me go to columns. Let me check whether they have put anything over here. For unique, they do not put anything. I cannot get. Yes, in index, I can get it. This is unique student ID. In index, index is one of the thing. Just like in book, we have index. Over here, in table, we can also have the index. And the unique columns or primary key columns are, automatically detected as index value. Okay. Or we can get it from DDL as well. We can get it unique key as student ID. Okay. So as of now, let's try the same thing. We make student ID as unique. Let me insert my first row. I have inserted. Let me insert my second row having the student ID as 1 again. Let me put someone Arjun Tiwari. 1999, 12, 26. Going to insert this record. Let's see what kind of error I can get. Yes, I receive an error. What is the error? Duplicate entry 1 for the key student ID. So as I make this student ID as unique constraint, I have imposed a unique constraint on top of the student ID. So I need to always make this thing as unique. I already inserted a unique, 1 as a student ID in my previous insertion. So I cannot make again with the student ID 1 over here. Okay. So this is how unique should work. Okay. I need to put over here 2. It should be working fine. 2, 3, anything, but the same thing cannot be repeated. Yeah, it's successfully inserted. Let me run and check. Yes, it's fine. Okay, so this is how it should work. Next constraint, primary key. If I want to make anyone as primary key, and primary key actually it should be same actually, unique thing would be there as well as not null. Both of the constraints should be imposed. If I want to make any particular column as primary key, of course that particular primary column should be unique as well as not null in nature. Okay. So, but how to define a primary key? The syntax is a bit different. Let me drop the table. Yeah, just run it over here. Primary key just can put over here primary key in this manner. Let me run it. Yes. You can see over here, it's bold and it's also mentioned as PK. means primary key. Okay. I can also check the same thing from the metadata information. It's like table inspector. Okay. So now I have a primary key student ID. So student ID should be always unique and not null in nature. This is one kind of constraint. So I cannot put duplication in student ID as well. It should also, I mean, the same unique and not null, both of the things can be combined and working as a primary key over here. Okay. So if I want to put composite key over here, I mean two two or
Excuse
more
me.
keys. Yeah, tell me.
Can you
Which one?
repeat this primary key concept?
Primary key is another constraint. Just like I want to make one column or two columns as my primary key. So we need to define in this manner. Just I told before that primary key we use unique, not null, those constraint. So the properties of this constraint can be present in primary keys. Means whatever example we just checked, just like student ID should be unique. If we make student ID as primary key, the student ID should be always unique in nature. Okay, and it cannot be null as well. Okay, so we are just making this thing as primary key. So yesterday we discussed what is primary key and all. So this is the thing. Not yesterday, actually, the day before yesterday, we are discussing of what is primary key, how it should be, and all. So this is how we can declare a primary key column inside the table. Okay, did you get it? Irfan, is it
Yes.
fine? Okay. There is another way to declare primary key. Another syntax. Let me just show you. We can just put in this manner. Add constraint. Add constraint, or we can just put constraint. Add constraint should be used during alter statement. Alter table name, add constraint, then constraint name. Or we can put over here constraint. We can put any constraint name over here, just like PKID, anything. It's a user defined thing. A constraint name of this primary key. Now you can define what kind of constraint you are using. It's a primary key. I'm using a constraint. The constraint is a primary key with this. This way we can also declare a constraint. We can put multiple things over here as well. Just like student ID and student name. I'm putting in this way. But generally this should not be a good use case. Student name can be multiple. I mean, but the combination of student ID and student name is, we can say over here, it's a primary key. This is the concept of composite key we just mentioned 2 days earlier. So this is another way to declare primary key. Okay. If we just check now in table inspector, we can see our index has been modified. Columns, two not null columns, because we have declared two primary keys over here. Okay, indexes. This is primary key. There are two primary keys over here, student ID and student name. Okay. It's also mentioned over here. Primary key, student ID, student name. Okay. And okay, let's learn what is foreign key. Foreign key, we already discussed what is foreign key actually. So how to declare it? The foreign key, maybe what I have told the last day, I think you can remember. Foreign key, actually, foreign key should be a primary key in another table. Okay. Suppose student ID is the primary key over here. I need to refer this column into another. Suppose teacher, let me just put create table teacher. In teacher, I'll be putting student ID. It should be one of the primary key. Okay. Suppose teacher ID could be integer. Student ID. The student ID should be primary key. Teacher ID should be primary key. The student ID should be foreign key. Okay. Let me put subject varchar 20. Now I can declare foreign key. This student ID, which is the primary key over here, I can declare the student ID as a foreign key in teacher table. Just put a comma over here. If we are, describing any constraint, the last column should be ended with a comma. Okay. If we are not declaring any constraint. If this is our last line, then remove the comma. Otherwise, the syntax will be throwing error. Foreign key, or we can just declare the thing. What is foreign key? Student ID. And I need to refer the original table. References. References is a keyword. Which is the original table? Student table. Student table. In student table, what is the student table? Student ID is the primary key. So I'm getting this reference from student table, student ID, and making in this table's foreign key. So this is the syntax for foreign key. Foreign key, foreign key name, and it's taking reference from the original table, that is student table, and this is student ID. Let me run it. Yeah, it's successfully executed. Yeah, this is teacher table. Where student ID, it's a foreign key. Okay, so this is how the foreign key relationship can be established. Okay, so any doubts so far till now on top of the constraints? It's fine for everyone. Okay, so Irfan, you can just share your screen now, because anyone is telling something. Sorry.
Yeah, actually, I have a doubt regarding the constraint keyword. You have used constraint keyword, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't know why we have to use that.
Yeah, this is another way to represent the constraint. Actually, whatever we are doing, it's a constraint only. So we can just give a name to that constraint, or we can give a index name, we can rather say. So this is primary key. Primary key is already getting imposed on top of this table. That is fine. But we can give a name to this constraint. Okay. The entire all the things are a constraint. Not null, unique, primary key, foreign key. So you can give a name to that constraint. That's it. Suppose the same thing. I'm just dropping teacher table. I did not give a constraint name to this foreign key, but I can give a name. Let me just do this thing. Constraint, just name fk. Okay. Constraint fk. So whatever foreign key I'm describing over here, I'm just giving them a name. This is an optional thing. I can put only this thing, that should be fine. Or I can put in this thing. So just to show you, this is another way of creating the table. Okay.
Yeah, got it. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Any other doubt from anyone?
So composite key is different.
Composite key, as I mentioned, when two or more keys I want to configure as my primary key, then we can declare composite key. So over here in this example, so student ID and student name, I make them as primary key. That means it's a composite key only. Okay. Composite key, it's not actually different. So, during declaration of primary key, if we take help or take reference more than one columns, then it's called a composite key.
Okay.
Any doubt? Any other doubt?
And there is a joins, right? That is the next concept. Joins, inner joins.
Yeah. Those things we'll be learning in DQL part. So
Okay.
we are just segregated the languages one by one. So currently we are focusing DDL and DML. We started it. DDL is data definition language. DML is data manipulation language. It's almost going to be completed today. Then we'll be learning DQL. In DQL part, data query language, we'll only select data. There we'll be learning join. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Irfan, you want to share your screen? You are still receiving the errors?
No, I have actually I have created the tables, but the thing is like I'm not able to understand the primary key concept because I'm trying to make a student ID as a primary key, but it's showing me an error.
Okay.
You want me to share my screen?
Yeah. Before that, I just something stuck in my mind. So someone just asked me about the composite key. For this, I maybe it's a contradict whatever I have told. So over here, in this way, if I declare in this way, this should be, I mean, this should be always unique. This is not exactly the composite key, whatever I just mentioned. So this thing, my student ID can be unique in nature always. Student name should be always unique in nature if we declare in this manner. But composite key is a bit different. The combination should be unique in nature. Okay. Sorry, someone is taking. Irfan, can you please go on mute a bit? So if we declare in this manner, student ID and student name differently should be in different way they can be distinct. Okay, but the composite key concept is a bit different. Composite key means the combination of two key can be unique. There can be duplication in student ID. There can be duplication in student name, but the combination should be unique. That is the concept of composite key, but we are not doing these things over here. If we declare in this manner, individual columns should be distinct in nature. Okay. We are not declaring this thing as a composite key. Someone asked me question. Sorry, I forgot the name. Vikas, correct or sorry?
Yeah, I asked about like constraint.
Okay, someone asked me about the composite key that time. Maybe this is the correct answer.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, okay.
Kumar.
Okay, yeah. Kumar, this is your first name or middle name? Sorry.
Uh,
Kumar.
yeah, that's first name.
Kumar is your first name. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Actually, we use Kumar as middle name over here.
Yeah,
Some name.
yeah. Tarun Kumar is first name, but it's created as Kumar here in
Okay,
Zoom.
okay.
So yeah,
Okay, fine.
people go with Kumar here. Yep.
Okay. Now, before going to DQL, I'll be just quickly checking Irfan's screen. I'm just making you co-host. You can share your screen. You all can check. Anyone can have any suggestion you can tell based on the experience. Yeah, Irfan, you can describe what the things you are getting. I think Irfan, you are in mute.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can hear you. Yeah, tell me.
So I have created this table and I want to
Okay.
make a student ID as a primary key. So for that command is create, right?
No, just put primary key, primary space key. Primary key is the keywords. Yes. Within bracket, within parenthesis, yeah, make, yeah, student ID. It's fine. The column name that you want to make it a primary key.
And simply I have to execute.
Correct. No, execute the entire statement. Only primary
Okay.
key, it's not executable. The end parenthesis also left. The create table, yes. Okay,
Again,
student
I'm
table is
getting
already exist. You need to drop the table quickly. Drop table name. No, it's fine. Primary key, it's fine. Just put the same way. Put another syntax. Drop table name.
1 sec.
Yeah. Take your time, no issue.
So I have to.
No, not this statement. Drop table, it's a separate statement. We need to drop the table. We need to delete the table and need to recreate it. Yes.
Drop table.
Table name, student table. You were dropping the table, then you will be recreating with primary key. Okay. Execute only
Simply,
drop table. Correct. Yes. Now,
no, I think it's got an error.
no, not the
Oh,
this
yes.
one, the last.
Okay, okay. Okay.
Now
Now
rerun
I
the
can
same thing.
execute.
Yeah. Yeah, it's successfully executed. Click on student. Click on student. Yes, you can
Okay.
see the
So
constraint has
if I want to make a student name as a primary key, simply I just have to change the command, right?
correct.
Student.
Yeah, we can drop it, recreate it, or we can use no. Now it should not be working. We are using a create statement. Why
Okay.
it's not be creating? Because the table is already created. So we can use the
We need to
alter
drop.
statement.
Okay.
Yeah, we can drop it. There is various way. After you can complete your screen, I'll be repeating these things once more time.
Okay.
You need to drop it and recreate it.
So I have to drop a student table again, or I have to just drop the student name.
No. If you are just going to re-execute the create statement, it will be throwing error
Mhm.
because the student table is already exist. Why we are going to create the student table again? Okay, so
Okay.
that is why we need to drop an existing table. Then we need to recreate the table with new things. But
Okay. Okay.
we know a new concept. We know alter statement concept.
Mhm.
We cannot drop and recreate these things again and again. Without doing that, we can use a alter statement. Alter
Okay.
table name, add constraint, then use that primary key. This is another way of representing. Okay, let me
Okay.
share
Okay.
my screen now. The concept is
Yeah.
clear, correct, Irfan?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sharing my screen. Some more things I just want to mention. I'm doing over here dropping table and recreating table just for this constraint. I can do in this manner as well. Why we are dropping? Because we are recreating it. If we create the same table, if the table is already present in the same database schema, then it should definitely throw the error. That is why we are dropping and recreating it. But this is not a good practice. We can use alter statement, alter table name. We can use add constraint. We can use primary key. This thing. Okay. I can use student date of birth. It's not there. So this way you can add student name as well. We do not have to drop it. It's showing error. What is the multiple primary key defined? Okay, one constraint is there. I cannot use multiple things. So I need to drop this primary key. Drop primary key. I think this way I can do this thing. Drop constraint. Let me just try once more time. No. What is the issue? I need to drop this constraint, then I need to recreate it. Or I can add. It is showing error. Multiple primary key defined. Multiple primary key, why I cannot define? I can define it. I can drop any constraint at any time. Let's quickly search it. Drop constraint. MySQL in on the statement. Okay, drop constraint name. Yeah, I'm using this thing only. Not sure what is happening. Give me
So,
a few seconds, okay?
uh,
I'm checking quickly whether the constraint name is different or not. Yeah, someone is telling something.
Sautik, I have a small question.
Yeah,
So
tell me.
previously I was working with SQL Server as well as PostgreSQL,
Mm-hmm.
but I wonder if MySQL permits to declare the constraint while we are creating the column itself in the same line.
No,
Isn't it
I
allowed
can
in this
create the
flavor?
constraint over here. I can create the constraint in create table statement that was successfully done earlier, but I'm
No, no, no,
trying
no,
to
no.
alter.
No, 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 my question is different.
Yeah.
What I'm asking you is like, you have declared the constraint in line number 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
As a primary key. So
Correct.
instead of doing the same, while I was working with SQL Server, I used to declare the constraint in line number 2 itself, after
Okay,
declaring the
over
data
here,
type.
primary key in this
Yeah,
manner.
yeah. So isn't it allowed in MySQL?
Correct. It's not allowed
Okay,
over
got
here.
it.
It's a syntax error over here. So this is just like a different thing. See, in Oracle as well, we can define primary key in the same line, just like
Yeah,
not
yeah.
null.
Yes. Yeah.
But over here in primary key declaration, unique as well. We can declare unique over here in other
Okay.
database. But over MySQL, this is a bit syntax change over here.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Okay. What I was trying, I mean, already declare primary key in this location. I want to drop the primary key. It's possible. Just to give me some seconds. I'm just quickly checking. Alter table student, drop primary key. Really, it's possible. It's not occurring over here. Yeah, it's there. So cannot drop index primary. Needed a foreign key constraint. Okay, I'm using this constraint over here as well. Maybe this is the reason. I declared a foreign key. Okay. Let me drop teacher table first. Let me use this thing now. Yes. Okay, this is very, very important concept. Once more time. So why I was not able to drop this primary key with the alter statement? Because I was
Why?
using a teacher table and I'm taking reference of the student ID. Okay, I'm using the student ID as the foreign key in another table. This is very, very important concept. I need to think this thing earlier. I forgot this thing. I created another table and having a reference over here. So there is a dependency between these two table. In our, I mean, when we are in a project, we might be checking this kind of things lots of time. So as there is a dependency, I cannot drop a constraint. So first I need to remove the dependency. First I can remove this foreign key constraint over here, or I can drop the table. Then I can do this thing. But dropping a table, it's not a good idea. I need to remove this constraint. by using this kind of alter statement on top of teacher as well, then we can do this drop primary key. As I just execute drop primary key, you can see the primary key has been removed from student. Now I can add the other primary key, whichever is required. Okay. Or the newly I want to put student ID and student date of birth as primary key. So I can use in this manner. Add constraint, primary key, student. What is happening? Today I'm doing lots of spelling mistake. Student ID. Again, student. DOB. Add constraint, primary key, student ID, student DOB. So whatever I have done, I drop the constraint and I'm recreating the constraint again with the primary key combination on top of student ID and student date of birth. Okay, it's done by alter statement. So this is actually I was discussing with Irfan. Without dropping a particular table, we can use alter statement and we can change the primary key or we can add more primary keys in this manner. Okay, we are not dropping and recreating table multiple times. We can use alter statement. Okay, so this is another option to do that. And one more thing, we can segregate the SQL syntax with a semicolon. If we put semicolon at the end of the syntax, I think then we can just put the things over here and re-execute it. Oh no, I need to select it. In Snowflake, I just checked. If we just put the cursor on top of any line, then it should be executed. No, we need to select the thing and execute. This is the only one. Yeah. But this is the different error actually. I mean, we already declared this primary key. That is why it's through the error. But I was thinking key, this kind of error can be removed if we put semicolon over here at the end of each statement. We can select, but we have to select the entire line. If we put multiple queries in a single page, single query editor page, we need to select the entire lines and we need to execute it. This is if we just put semicolon, it will identify this is a separate query and you can see in this kind of bullet point should be available over here. Okay. Okay, let me start. Okay, DQL, we do not have much time. Okay, I'll be starting DQL from tomorrow. Okay. So just try or practice DDL and DML who are quite new, who already had the experience. You do not have to try, but just have a quick recap. And who are quite new, just like Irfan, I mean, you are practicing this thing. It's very good. So, I mean, just identify which are new statements, which statements needs to be put again and execute. Just identify the functional things. Then the thing should be clear. When you are trying to execute which things to be executed and which particular lines are, I mean, needs to be executed, you were a bit confused I mean, that time. But just think about the functional things. Why we are recreating the thing? Why we need to drop the thing? If you just understand this, this is very, very easy for you. Okay. But keep practicing. If there is any doubt, please tell me. Because this is very much basic. We are able to create the thing. Now, DQL should be a bit tough rather than DDL and DML. And I mean, it's also interesting as well. This is nothing but different kind of visualization we need to check on top of the table. Okay, so tomorrow we'll be starting DQL part. It will take 1 or 2 more days because very, very important concepts are there. We'll be doing analytics part on top of DQL, just like using grouping, aggregations, sorting the things, doing joins, doing unions, lots of things we are going to do in next day. Okay, so any doubt so far till now from anyone regarding DDL and DML?
Hello, can I share my screen once, please?
Yeah,
have
yeah, sure.
question.
Yeah,
sure.
Tilak.
Yeah, one second.
I'm just making you co-host. Whoever is, you can feel free to drop the other persons. Our course is, today's class is already covered. I'll be checking this thing and we can drop the session.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
in
you
the
can go ahead.
student table, it's showing it as a primary key, but in the teacher, it's not showing. Is it okay? Like it's not showing as a foreign. See
Actually,
here, it is
index.
primary.
No, it's
Yeah.
actually index. There's a big difference between index and primary keys as well. I want to mention this thing. Index is one of the, I mean, things that will help us doing performance improvement. Just like in
Okay.
book, we are having index to search any particular keyword or any particular page. For other databases, maybe they are not defining primary keys can be the index. Okay. But over here, if you are declaring any primary keys, by default, they are taking these things as index. You can add index with other keys as well. Suppose I need to join or I need to perform two or more tables with the common
Okay.
keys, then I can declare multiple keys as index. Index will help us to retrieve information. Actually, why index is required? Maybe when we'll be learning big data, a particular table can be have millions of records. Okay. Then when I'm
Okay.
trying to fetch any tables or any data on top of this table, it will take maybe 15 minutes of time. A simple select query, select star from the table, that time you can see it is taking 10 minutes, 15 minutes of time. To remove this kind of thing, if we just want a faster execution, we need to declare this kind of index part. Means I am indexing the entire table based on some columns. Okay. But in MySQL, by default, they are taking primary key as the indexes. This is a good option. That is fine. But foreign
Okay.
keys, they are not taking by default as an index. It's not required actually. But in
Okay.
other databases, you can see, you can put
Okay.
without, apart from primary key, you can add some more keys as indexes. Okay. Especially
Can I
when
check the foreign key in the teacher table?
you can check. I
Like,
think it will not bring the index over there.
yeah, it's not showing the index.
Yeah. They're not, by default, they're not showing indexes. But there are
Okay.
syntaxes of doing indexes as well. Create index, index name in this kind of stuff. Add index.
Okay.
In alter statement, you can do add index, put multiple columns over there.
Okay.
Just search in web, add index, or in alter statement. In web, Google, you can quickly search.
Yeah. I got it. I got it.
Alter statement, add index. So I just want to mention there is a big difference between index and primary key. But in MySQL, by default, primary keys they are taking into consideration as index. But indexing concept is totally different. Index is just like the same index in book. Okay, index will help us with a performance improvement. On top of particular column set, I can impose the index, which will help a faster query execution while retrieving data, while doing the DQL part. I was going to
So,
tell the last day of
so
the
are
SQL. Yeah. Yeah, tell
okay.
me.
So, are we
Yes.
going to deal with indexation
Yeah,
in this
yeah.
course?
Actually, yeah. Index, I put this index at the last. When we'll be learning store procedures, other
Okay.
components over there, synonyms. Then I'll be quickly touching the index over there.
Okay. Okay.
I
Can
think
we
Fine.
check
you
what are the
already.
foreign keys? Okay.
Sorry.
Sorry. No,
Okay,
you're
Tilak,
telling
you.
something.
I think Tilak was
Like,
telling something.
yeah. Can we check what
Okay.
are the foreign keys in each table? Like for the teacher table, I need.
Okay, you can check the DDL. Click on DDL.
Okay. Oh
So
yeah.
it's mentioned over here. Suppose you are entering in a project, in a live project, okay, at the middle. You are not developing it at the beginning. Okay. It's for everyone. Just you can have the idea. I think whoever already have the experience, Vishnu, you have the experience. I think you might have also faced this kind of thing. So you are
Uh,
joining in a live project. It's the development is ongoing. So
Yeah.
there you have some requirement to change some tables or anything. So
Okay.
that time you need to, you can see, I mean, there is not only 2 or 3 columns, there may be 23, I mean 30, more than 30, 40,
Yes.
50 columns should be there. So
Yes.
before doing any kind of modification, we used to check the DDL of the tables, just like in this way.
Yeah.
I click and create the DDL statement. First, we need to observe what are the existing thing. Then we need to change accordingly. The similar kind of thing you can also check. This is for Tilak. As the same thing you are checking the foreign key, we used to check the similar kind of thing by checking the DDL. Okay. And this is very, very helpful. We need to check the DDL, then we need to think what should be our next step. Whether we can go ahead with the alter statement, whether we can recreate the table after dropping it. Okay. So this is one of the good thing to check DDLs, and all the things should be present in DDL. Whoever the previous developer has worked, we can get it from the DDL itself. Okay. Yeah. Any other thing? Any other question? Any other thing from anyone? Okay. Let's connect tomorrow. We'll be starting DQL part. It is also very, very interesting. And my request is whoever is quite new to this field, please have a hands-on. Just like Tilak is trying, Irfan is trying, all of you, please try it. Whoever is quite new, whoever has already experience, you can, I mean, omit this thing. But whoever is quite new, please try this thing so that you have a good experience at your side. Okay. Thanks everyone. Bye bye.
Thanks all. Bye.